So by Square implementing the payment rails to be um, very transferable in Bitcoin, so that
Mm.
retailers can sell all their goods and do point of sale stuff in and out of Bitcoin real quickly. What that does is create a siphoning effect of money and businesses' money out of fiat and into Bitcoin if they so choose. And so that creates more of a siphon. It puts pressure on the great realignment and on the legacy system, I think,
Potentially, yeah.
to deal with it.
You still got to pay your tax in dollars.
That's true. Whether they
Coming
take it
back
in
somewhere.
Bitcoin or not, they got to pay taxes.
I will point out that most people don't really pay taxes.
Most people don't pay taxes. Everybody pays taxes. What are you talking about?
I mean, like if you look at the amount of like how much your taxes represents the total tax paid, it's like barely anything. And a lot of think all the poor people that don't actually pay, like they actually get, they take money, like they get paid, like as soon as they have child tax credits and all those other tax credits, right? And if it's usually kids, but also if they just don't make that much money, I mean they might pay a little bit in taxes, but then they get more than what they paid by the end of the year, right? So I don't know how people that is.
That's a fractional number compared to the amount of working people that are paying into the system, though. I mean, it's like, because on the other side of that argument is like all these rich people pay way more than taxes than all you worker bees put together. So blah, blah, blah. I mean, but it ends up being the same sort of circular argument. Like whether or not someone's paying more or less doesn't negate the fact that right in the fat, juicy middle, everyone's paying an absolute truck ton, like 30 or 40% of your income, quote unquote, goes to.
I don't know how many. I don't know if it's a majority or not.
There's a growing number of people that are really just taking, though, the welfare state.
Well, that's also a natural evolution. I mean, you can't keep automating away jobs and then keep expecting people to produce tax receipts, right? Like it just doesn't. That math doesn't add up. The math isn't mathing there. So they're running into some structural problems pretty soon, for sure.
Yeah. So with AI and a lot of this stuff, I mean, there's going to be serious talk about doing universal basic income, I think, because it's like, well, AI and all this other stuff, it's taken away and changing the landscape of all these jobs. And there's going to be a push for not just UBI, but the associated national ID and all that.
Right.
CBC.
Well, I mean, what else are you going to do, though? I mean, what's the solution?
Bitcoin. So that's the thing. I think it's coming. Like, I don't know how we would avoid money printing, UBI, and national ID and the CBDC. What's the solution?
Right.
Get on Bitcoin.
Well, that's the solution for some people, like the very tiny fraction of human beings that actually understand any of this stuff that we're talking about. But for the rest of the 8 billion people on planet Earth, you go, okay, what's the solution? I don't know. How do you fix? I've automated away all your jobs.
So the answer, by the way, on net drain, net positive on taxes, it's about half.
Wow, neat. That's pretty good.
Yeah, kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is a increasing share of the pie for sure. Well, I mean,
a lot of corporations write so much off that when they actually pay taxes, or a lot of wealthy people, on paper they look like they're in debt. Really.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping that's what we look like as a corporation in America. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Well, the broad point being, though, is even those people that are at the bottom of that ladder are still paying into a taxing system of some sort, whether or not it's, like everything they do, they're being taxed by debasement, they're being taxed by sales tax, they're being taxed by, any number of things. So it's the broad point of it being like the purpose of money is to extract. The purpose of that extraction right now is to gain power over, like the tension in the United States right now is between the communists and the whatever is the other side of that, I guess, the strongmen, basically. So you kind of go, well, whichever lever they can pull that's more effective to marshal more of those resources under their banner so they can use them for extractive purposes is what's going to prevail in here. And I think the United States tends to be pretty resilient towards, things like communal distribution of assets. but that's also been eroding very steadily for 100 years. So it's really interesting. It'll be interesting to see where it goes. But when it comes to like things like UBI and all that kind of stuff, I think it's almost inevitable. Like I don't. Maybe I just lack imagination, but I don't see how the other 8 billion people survive. Like it does you very little good as an owner and hoarder of massive amounts of resources to just let all of your resources starve to death and die, because then you don't have any resources anymore, right? So you kind of lose the game. So how do you make sure that your resources are still productive enough for you that you control them? Like you can send them off to war, or they can fight for you, or whatever it is. Whatever you need to extract from them, you can still do, but then not just let them, sit around in huts on the street and turn, the entire United States into like a open air garbage pit. So I don't know.
I think
I don't know if Bitcoin gets us there.
I think that the people interrupt those processes like throughout history. So like if there's enough, for example, young men that are disenfranchised and don't have jobs or don't work, they usually get into trouble, and they start taking resources.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly right.
Or you send them to the New World.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I think that's what we're looking at right now, right? Like we just imported 50 million of nice young fighting men. So I wonder where they'll end up.
Well, and if say UBI comes to pass here, what is that? 20,000 a year, 30,000 a year. It could be 50,000 a year, and people are going to feel like maybe they're scraping. But basically, you set this ceiling on people where it's like, hell, unless I'm working hard to make more than that, why would I ever bother? It's going to affect.
Is that me?
You look fine to me. Can you hear me?
Oh, we might have lost him. He's frozen on my side now.
Uh-oh.
Nice.
I'm not frozen. Am I here?
Wow. That was like a kaboom.
I think there'll be a lot more people buying Bitcoin with their UBI.
I hope so.
I think people will be making those.
We saw it during COVID with the little $2,000 thing. I can't remember.
Stimulus checks, yeah. Oh yeah, dude. There was all kinds of like well-to-do middle-class people that are piling into Bitcoin.
Yeah. Well, and it'd be if there's a ceiling there for people, why there's gonna be a cultural inertia to like not overcome that. It'll be like, I can make enough and be a bum. So.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I'm sure they'll eventually start. Like there was like a hut tax in Africa for a long time when the British came down. I can't remember which country they went to, but they put a hut tax on people. They said, you got to pay your hut tax. And you got to pay it in, British crown papers or whatever. And the purpose of the hut tax was like, well, we need these people to come out and start build some roads or something. So they need to come up with some way to pay us this tax. So get to work, jackass. And, when it comes to the UBI and all this kind of stuff, it wouldn't surprise, like sooner or later, someone's going to look around and go, hey, we got a lot of people that are just sitting around playing fucking Call of Duty all day, and that's no good. But we could use a new road. So, hey, you want your UBI this week? You better turn up to the work center and put in your 10 hours or whatever. And then they'll just have these guys out there busting rocks or something like that. You go, I'm crippled. You go, okay, well, we got some cripple work for you, so come on down here. But otherwise, we're cutting you off, and GFY. So
I think there'd be a need for like price controls and rent control after a UBI gets introduced. And things, but I just think those things would follow. Yeah,
it's a pretty natural evolution, I think. I mean, it all goes to hell in a handbasket, basically. Like
prices start inflating, and then everyone starts complaining because the UBI becomes more worthless, right? The inflation and debasement just goes crazy, and then price controls and rent control are like, what is the government's way to try to solve that?
Right. Yeah, and then we end up in Soviet breadlines. So I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah, well, so get you some Bitcoin, man. Opt out of that system for sure, if possible. But for the rest of the people that aren't getting on the arc, I go, things aren't looking great for you. But my hope is that it propagates out. What's that, Travis?
You need a side economy that just accepts Bitcoin, kind of like in Brazil, where there's an economy for dollars and stable coins, and there's an economy with their shitty local fiat currency.
Right. Yeah. Hey, you got a little Bitcoiner on. We got a junior Bitcoiner joining the show.
My daughter wanted to say hi. She saw me over here by the beach. The tornado's coming in crazy, so it's been anyway.
Yeah.
Not as much beach to
Well,
play.
you should ask her what we should do about the UBI. She probably has a better answer than any of us.
I know. What I don't burden kids or grandkids with is like, well, yeah, you can just get your UBI and be creative and do what you want and be a bum. It's like incentivizing the next generation to overcome that and understand that life is for more than welfare. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I think an ideal economy develops when people start taking on craftsman type roles, and that keeps people busy. It keeps people using their fingers and toes, and it also keeps generating those tax receipts. So you can kind of keep that fiat illusion going for a little while longer, and you kind of see it in places like, well, I mean, all throughout the U.S. economy, right? There's always people doing craft brews and craft this and craft that, because like if you don't do a craft thing, then you're like stuck in the grind. And if you lose your grind, then you have to come up with something. So it's either like you go Uber or you do DoorDash, or you come up with something that you hopefully can, add value to society and then extract some value for yourself, right? And I think like with Bitcoin on the balance sheets, like as the big players kind of get more and more of that, it hopefully protects them from this inevitable debasement that's coming. And if they can protect that, they can sort of protect jobs. And there might be some like paths forward where people go like, you know what, instead of automating this, maybe we keep the little worker bees working so we can keep the game going a little bit longer. And I think there is a path forward where it kind of nets out, where we don't end up on this UBI and everyone's just destitute and living in tent cities all around the world. And there's just a select few people that get to thank the gods every day that they get to go sit in an office and grind for 16 hours and stuff like that. But I think it's a narrow window, and it's probably closing rapidly. But if there was ever a window created in the history of mankind, I think Bitcoin provided it. So I'm ever hopeful. I remain optimistic that I can convince about 2 or 3 million people to run a node, and then make this thing like actually stick and give it some legs. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, run nodes. I mean, if there's any risk to Bitcoin, it's definitely the number of decentralized nodes running.
Without a doubt.
The strategic Bitcoin reserve has grown in the States. It just grew by 127,000 Bitcoin. $14 billion in Bitcoin.
I'm not entirely certain what law changed in the United States of America that said when a victim loses assets that the state seizes it. But I guess that's a new thing now, that Bitcoiners are cheering for some reason. Like, hey, these guys stole a bunch of Bitcoin, and then the feds came in and got it back, and then they said, we're going to keep this. Like,
well, I wonder if they'll redistribute it. All those pig butchering scams, that Chen Z guy's on the run, I guess. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's lawsuits, like civil lawsuits, to get funds. Like if the victims can prove that their stolen funds were in that pool that was used. I mean, that happens all the time,
right?
And I wouldn't be surprised if there's efforts to, like, if there's open cases that
right, could resolve that way. Yeah,
I would be shocked if they don't do that. Usually that money will just sit somewhere and people will fight over it.
Yeah. So. Well, let's hope. I mean, because right now people are saying stuff like, it's in our strategic reserve now. I'm like, really? Because those are proceeds of, those are things that were taken from people by a criminal. So maybe, but I mean, even that itself, it's like, well, you got to sue to get your own money back, right? You got to go through some big run out legal process, rather than the government going like, hey, let's figure out who lost all this money so we can get it back to them, right? Like that would be like a benign, sovereign doing the right thing kind of thing. But they go, well, we'll just keep it. If someone tries to claim it, we'll fight them for about 2 or 3 years, and then maybe we'll give it back, and then we'll tax the shit out of them for it. It's just like,
I'm surprised it was in Bitcoin. Like I don't really know all the details of how they seized it. Reading some of the announcements, it almost sounds like they seized it from different cryptocurrency exchange accounts. I'm surprised that like that is where those funds were left. Like, why wouldn't they like hold their own keys?
Right. Yeah.
Maybe they do, and that's just like a small percentage of what they made.
Yeah. You never know. It's crazy, man.
Well, I was talking to a friend of mine earlier this week as well, who I've been telling him about Bitcoin for years, and he knows I'm into it, and he's well aware of the big picture issues in the world, and we agree on a lot. But in his mind, he's just like, I don't understand Bitcoin. I don't do the digital thing. I can't figure it out. But he's got a smartphone. I mean, he can do plenty on his smartphone, and I'm like, okay, you don't have to go crazy deep dive on everything, but if you can run an app and get off zero and just play with it a little bit, you can do Bitcoin easy. And but in his head, he's just like, oh no, that's just, I'm old and it's complicated. He doesn't want to, but he's into gold. So for some people, if they can't figure out Bitcoin, I mean, maybe gold is sort of that alternative, non-fungible, non-transferable mode option, maybe.
I guess. I don't know, man. It's subject to capture, so it makes it a lot less shiny to me. But Johnny said something here. I think there will always be people who come up with solutions to problems and profit from their inventiveness. I agree 100%. I would say, Johnny, if you just look through history, the doomsayers are wrong 95% of the time. Like, there will be people since the dawn of agriculture. People have been coming on. The end is nigh. Everything's going to fall apart. We're all going to die. Blah, 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 blah. And they've been wrong almost all the time. Yes, things do eventually. Something terrible happens. We get hit by a meteor or whatever. But for the most part, if you had been like a pessimist for the last 5,000 years, you would have been wrong for 4,900 of them, right? So I think there's always. It's easier to be fearful of things, and I think it's much more optimistic to kind of look forward and go, well, chances are good someone's going to figure something out, because it benefits everybody if you try and figure out the problem rather than, digging a hole in your backyard and like locking yourself away in a bunker.
You got to physically secure it, and if you really, I mean, your whole economy shrinks to your community where you can physically travel and then physically exchange metal. So, yeah.
Well, I don't, I mean, that, I don't know. I think optimism is probably a stronger trait amongst human beings in general. But, it doesn't mean you got to be a Pollyanna and just sit there with like an ostrich with your head in the sand. But, looking forward to solutions. I think solutions are on the horizon about always, right?
Bitcoin is hope.
Johnny's Meteor Cleanup Service. I love it. Dude, that's going to be a cash cow right there, man.
Never let
your hands, dude. Like, I'll scrape all the bodies, bro. I'm here. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. I'll haul bodies. I'll beg your pets, whatever.
Yeah.
Never let a good emergency go to waste. Hey.
Yeah, exactly.
Capitalize on that.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. Well, have we solved the world's problems yet?
What else happened? So thinking of the pig butchering payout, like, yes, money should go to the victims. Last week as well, it was an interesting week this past week. My wife gets a $35 check from Facebook because I don't use Facebook, but there was some class action lawsuit or thing that you could fill out a form, and because there was a data leak, and I don't know, everybody's data went somewhere, I guess, go figure. She got a $35 check because she was a victim of data breach.
Thanks.
Okay.
That's awesome.
I can imagine. So the government's like, hey, if you were the victim of a pig butchering scam, fill out this form and
we'll send you $35.
And then what are you going to get out of it? How many people capitalize on that or know about it or want to admit it? Yeah, I don't know.
That's crazy, dude. Like, well, I mean, if you just think about how much damage is caused by that, like the DOC in Oregon had a huge data breach, dude. And this was like right after they had passed a law. It says, hey, any data breaches, we're going to hammer fuck you. And then the DOC was like, oh, we just had a big, I mean, it was like social security numbers and addresses and everything. I'm like, I still haven't seen a check for that, but I know my data is out there. And this is some like deep, law enforcement background data stuff, right? That just is like floating around now. I go, well, that's kind of funny. Like you people in the state like wanted to go hammer like Facebook for when they do a data breach, but when you do it, they're like, oh, well, no money for that. We can, that it's different because it's the DOC, and we're not going to do this. I can't remember how many it was. It was huge, dude. It was like a massive data dump, and it just got buried, and no one paid any attention to it. I remember looking at it like, Come on, baby. Give me my $75, you bastards.
That might be enough for Identity Guard for a year.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's just retarded, dude. because,
Everyone
like,
will get a free subscription for a year from dataguard.com. So
yeah, but you have to enter your credit card first, and if you forget about it, they're just going
give
to
us all your data, and we'll protect your data.
yeah, for $20 a month forever. And you'll just be sitting there one day looking at your credit card bill going, when the hell did I sign up for this? Oh, yeah, after that time, the DOC lost all my data, and now they're getting a kickback from this company for all the people they signed up. Ridiculous. These people are just baboons, man.
That's one thing that's nice about Nostr apps and services is that if you're like connecting and opening an account with these apps or services, you're just using your private key for your Nostr identity, right? It's just
Right.
one key, and that's it. And you're not using your identity, your PII, as like a login or
Right.
as an account creation mechanism.
Right. It's just a validation tool. I am who I am.
Also, that like, obviously it's a lot more private, a lot less risky. But what ends up happening is people will lose their key or their login credentials, right? And then there's no way to recover it.
Right.
That's kind of the trade-off.
Yeah, huge trade-off, unfortunately, because most people are freaking baboons. Hey, you still running graphene, dude?
Yeah, but I was actually thinking, let me switch to a different mic. One second.
Yeah.
So yeah, stamp your Nostr private key on microseed. Try not to mess
why
up.
not? Yeah. Why not?
They should make a NIP for seed phrases for Nostr, because right now, as far as I know, maybe there's something, but yeah, your NPub is like this quite a thing.
String. Yeah.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're here. Great.
Cool. I was hearing feedback, so hopefully this is a little bit better.
Yeah, loud and
But,
clear, brother.
Cool. I forget what we were talking about.
Nostr.
Nostr apps having privacy. You can use your Nostr ID to log into Nostr services.
I was looking at streaming this pod on Nostr because there's a lot of vlogs and stuff happening there now, and I got to do some more research. But all I can see right now is like Fountain.fm, and they take a subscription fee, and I just haven't committed to that yet. But it'd be great to be.
It's hard to get like the multi-platform broadcast capability. I mean, it's hard to get all the fiat stuff without using the fiat stuff, right? So.
Oh yeah, you were asking me about graphene.
Graphene, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I have like my pixel's dying, right? Like, look at this screen. It's when I tap on it, it'll be like an inch off sometimes. So it's like on its last days. So I was thinking about getting a new pixel and de-googling it and throwing graphene. I like graphene, but I was like trying to jump on a meeting a couple of days ago, and they're trying to send me Google Meet links, and it was just not working. I couldn't use it in my browser. That was, I could try to download Google Meet, the app, like, and maybe then remove it or something, and it was not playing along. Yeah, so that was kind of stressful. It's like I'm trying to join this meeting, I'm struggling. They're messaging me like, "We're waiting for you." Like on my mobile. I have to go like get my wife's mobile device, and that's another thing is like, I'm super doxxed. I have like businesses. I've held office. I do videos like with you guys. My face is out there. Like I'm doxxed. It's like if the government wants to get me, they'll get me.
Right.
And then the other thing, it's like so there's almost like this layer of like I am kind of okay with a lot of my stuff that's kind of out there already. And if there's any data that I want to hide, like I know how to hide it. I'm technical enough to do that. And then the other thing is like I'm still connecting to a Verizon wireless cell sites, right? So it's like, oh, okay, like I could still be triangulated. Yeah. And then my wife is always with me when I'm traveling, pretty much, and she has like a Google phone. So if they really want to, throw a hellfire at me, they just aim for her phone, and they're going to get me.
Thank you for watching this video. This is just a short clip from our full episode. So if you'd like to enjoy more entertaining wisdom found in our podcasts in their full context, just click a link in the corner. We are always sharing our big ideas on Bitcoin Liberty Live.